And that's where the perfectionist comes in. They understand how to get there. They have a very clear vision, a very clear path. They know how to get there. The problem for poor sweet Virgo is that there actually is no such thing as perfection, right? And so they will always strive for that, not in the name of actually being a perfectionist, really truly in the name of service. They're really trying to help this world become this beautiful place that they envision. But there's no such thing as perfection. And so in their mind, they are actually always lacking because they're never going to get there. And they see that. They see, why am I not there? And so then they end up kind of beating themselves up because they can't be perfectionists. They can't be perfect about everything. And so for Virgo, it's just hugely, hugely important on their life path that they learn to give themselves grace, and they begin to understand that although their strive for perfection is beautiful, that they need to understand that they can't get there and they need to give themselves grace when they don't get there.
This season on the Living Out Love podcast, we are focusing on you, who you are, what motivates you, what you're here to contribute, and how you can expand. We'll be utilizing my leadership skills and spiritual connection, diving deep into the Enneagram and astrology. Listen every week to become intimately aware of yourself. Only then can you heal and grow. Let's get to work, loves. Hello, loves. Welcome to Virgo season. As always, we have the amazing and adorable Suzanne Platner here with us to help us learn about the Virgos. As Suzanne, I was thinking, really the only thing that I hear over and over and over again about Virgos is the kitchen witch.
Yes.
And then I was thinking about, because I have kids, in Encanto,
Uh-huh.
and
Uh-huh.
the mom who's like the healer, like she cooks food and it heals people. And I was like,
Yes.
that's Virgo.
That is
Um,
absolutely Virgo. Yes.
that is the extent of my Virgo knowledge.
Well, and you know what's really funny about that is that that's a detail that a lot of people miss about Virgo.
Mm.
So that, yeah, that's funny that that's one that you're really clued into. I love that.
Oh, yeah, that's, I guess I hang out with witchy people. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. I'd say so.
And part of what made me happy about that realization is the healing aspect.
Hmm.
Because aren't they like healers? I mean, we know Cancer is healers, but
Absolutely.
aren't they?
Absolutely. Yeah. Virgo is very much into the world of medicine, into the world of healing, into, a lot of times if you look at people's charts who are into any kind of whether they're doctors or nurses, or maybe they're a massage therapist or any kind of anything in the realm of health,
Mm.
you will very often see a strong Virgo energy, whether it be the sixth house or the sign of Virgo, you'll see that in their chart. The sixth house in particular, really, that is everybody's house of health.
Mm.
A lot more than health too, but the sixth house, of course, ruled by Virgo. Um, so yeah, they are very much into that. They're very into herbs and things like that, and
Mm.
that's again is one of those details that a lot of people don't understand about Virgo. They're going to be out there in the garden picking the perfect herbs, knowing exactly, like they're meticulous. That's what people know. They're
Oh, okay.
meticulous. And so it's that meticulous nature that allows them to just really, really understand and become an expert in all of the herbs and how they will help. They're meticulous and they want to serve. And
Mm.
those two things added together really do kind of add up to somebody that is in the health industry.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
I like the word meticulous because I do think I've heard perfectionist associated with Virgo. And
Yeah.
meticulous is probably more accurate, or at least the higher
Yeah.
road.
Well, yes and no. Here's
Okay.
what I will say about Virgo. Okay, here's yes, people very often they think when they think of Virgo, they think perfectionist, they think analytic, they think, nitpicky, all of these kinds of things. And it's not that these things are untrue. These things are true. But
Right.
I think that the thing that gets really easily misunderstood about Virgo is why Virgos are that way, because
Okay.
here's how the mind of a Virgo works. They have this really beautiful clarity about how the world is supposed to work.
Mm.
Okay. In very, very fine details. Okay. We're not like, if we're talking about Aquarius, we'd be talking about real big picture. If we're talking about Sagittarius also, we'd be talking about big picture clarity. With Virgo, it's minutia.
Okay.
So this is why everything needs to be perfectly organized on a bookshelf or in the dishwasher or, in a cupboard, things like that, because they know where that cup is supposed to go and nobody should stray from that because they are right. Okay.
Mm,
They are right. And so in their mind, that is really how they see it. And they see it as that this is actually like their service to the world, is that this is the right way to do this. I see this with such clarity. It's so obvious to me. If someone's not doing it right, let me fix that for them, which can come off kind of poorly for the other person in the conversation, right? Because
yeah.
they've got their own ideas about where the cup is supposed to go. But for a Virgo, they see it as service, and they see the world as it could be. They
Mm,
do see the
mm-hmm,
world that it could be perfect.
mm-hmm,
And that's where the perfectionist comes in. They understand how to get there. They have a very clear vision, a very clear path. They know how to get there. The problem for poor sweet Virgo is that there actually is no such thing as perfection, right? And
mm,
so they will always strive for that, not in the name of actually being a perfectionist, really truly in the name of service. They're really trying to help this world become this beautiful place that they envision. But there's no such thing as perfection. And so in their mind, they're actually always lacking because they're never going to get
mm,
there. And they see that. They see, why am I not there? And so then they end up kind of beating themselves up because they can't be perfectionists. They can't be perfect about everything.
right.
And so for Virgo, it's just hugely, hugely important on their life path that they learn to give themselves grace, and they begin to understand that although their strive for perfection is beautiful, that they need to understand that they can't get there and they need to give themselves grace when they don't get there.
Mm,
Yeah. And that's just kind of what people misunderstand quite often about them.
yeah. I think that as I'm taking it woo, as
Hmm.
spiritual beings having a human experience, I think our human ego has a different idea of perfection, as you alluded to earlier.
Sure.
But I think that there is that possibility of like heaven on earth,
Hmm.
I think is a possibility if
Yeah.
we can allow it. And I was saying to somebody the other day about like all the businesses I have going on, and they're all different types of healing. And I was telling them, I was like, ultimately, it's all about love, but the way to get to love is to heal all the other stuff that's in the way because the
Sure.
love is
Yeah.
already there. And so
Yeah.
I think how beautiful that Virgos are healers, and it's the same thing. It's like we're just getting out of the way
Yeah.
all the stuff that's not perfect.
And you lead to an absolutely perfect point about Virgo, which is that, throughout this podcast, we've looked at like, well, why is this sign coming in after the sign before it? Like, what is it doing for the human experience?
Yes, Suzanne,
What's
take
our,
us
what's
there.
our growth? Yes, yes, yes. You led us perfectly into it. Let me tell you why.
Yeah.
Is because so we started off with Aries, that true just being just in their stance. We don't need to go through every single sign, but we grew through the signs.
Yeah.
Okay. And where we ended off was with Leo. And Leo finally understood. Leo got healed when they were in Cancer season, okay?
Mm.
And they learned that they could come out of their shell, they could be big, and they could, have this fun energy. It's the first time the human understands that they can have fun. And that's Leo, just being big and shining and bold and singing and laughing and dancing and everything creative is what Leo is. Leo's so big, right? Now, what you've got to understand about Virgo, I'm going to take us to the next sign, Libra. Libra is a sign of partnership. It's a sign of peace. It's the sign of harmony. Libra is the seventh sign. There's 12 signs total. The first six signs are very much about the human experience, the one human experience, a human
An
experience,
individual.
an individual, exactly. Once we get into Libra, we start getting into partnerships with other people. Libra takes us into partnerships.
Mhm.
So Virgo's job is really like we've gone through this whole experience starting with Aries where we were just like this guttural being and that's all
Yes.
we were. And now Virgo's like, we're about to get to Libra. We're about to create partnership. What do we need to do to create partnership? Leo was bombastic. That's what a Virgo would say about Leo. Leo was bombastic. They were big. They were just no, no, no. Get rid of all of this fun. It's not that a Virgo doesn't have fun, but not in the way that a Leo would, right?
Right, right.
Get rid of all of this just silly. They would think it's silly energy. We've got to button ourselves up here. We've got to take a good look in the mirror, straighten up our tie, and let's take a look at ourselves before we go out there into the world with other people, and let's make ourselves as amazing as we can possibly be
Mm,
to prepare us for that partnership. And so, yeah, Virgo is also very much about that healing so that we can become one with another.
yeah.
Um, yeah,
When you were first talking about Virgo and the need to be meticulous and get things right, and if I load the dishwasher wrong, they're going to help me do it better. I was
they
thinking
will.
about how far we've come from Gemini, whereas Gemini would have been like, maybe there's another 30 ways to load the dishwasher. We could, what do you think? And I was
Yes,
thinking, how fascinating that we're still in the first six signs. We're still in all the individual signs, and we've now come to this point of, no, I know.
I know. I know.
Like, and I'm so curious, like, what do you associate that with like confidence, or because they've studied? How did we get to that point of, no, I know how to load the dishwasher?
Yeah, I don't know that I would say confidence because Virgos definitely can lack confidence.
Yeah.
It's just that their vision is so clear. It maybe
Okay.
is a knowing. They're all about growth, and they're all about, like, we've been through this whole growth journey. This is the
Right.
final pinnacle of growth of the individual. Like, we do know
Yeah.
how it's all supposed to be done, and we're gonna share that with the world. And so yeah, I yeah. Does that answer the question?
It does. It does. That clarity of vision,
Yeah,
that they have the vision.
yeah.
And I do think, I just think this, I wonder this. I'm sure not every Virgo would agree, but I imagine there's some amount of intuition in that.
Oh, absolutely. Yes,
Okay.
yes. Virgo is a very, very intuitive sign. When we're looking at, I mean, I would say Taurus is, I was going to say, of the earth signs, it's the most, intuitive. Taurus is intuitive, but in an animalistic
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
way.
Primal.
Yeah, yeah. Virgo is intuitive with this more of this knowing, this
Mm,
exactness, but they're definitely, they're a people don't, again, when we're going back to the kitchen witch example,
yeah.
people don't think of Virgo as a spiritual sign, as a witchy sign, as a, you know, psychic sign. It actually is a very, very psychic sign.
Mm,
It's just not put in that box like Pisces would be the sign that we would think of as
yeah.
the most psychic, but Pisces is the opposite of Virgo. And
Mm,
Pisces gets to psychic by letting go of everything.
right.
Virgo almost gets to psychic by like controlling everything. Like they
Mm,
just know how it's supposed to be. And
right.
this is why the two signs are opposite, because it's the link between that middle ground between them is the letting go versus controlling.
Yeah.
There's beauty in each of those things, but really the true beauty is when we bring them together as one.
Well, and literally talking to different psychics, some psychics are very Piscean, and they sort of disassociate from their body and their energies
Hmm.
out in the ethers, and some psychics are the opposite, and they get their information because their hands are in the dirt and because they're feeling things in their body. So it does
Exactly.
make sense that they're opposite like that.
Yes, and I love that you mentioned hands in the dirt because that is
Yeah.
that is definitely a place where Virgo would want to go. People think Virgo's so clean, and that's true. And also, they want their hands in the dirt. This is an earth sign. They want to be out there in the garden. They understand the value of dirt
Yeah.
per se, the healing properties of dirt, and the beauty of being able to fully ground into that.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah.
I was gonna make a joke, but it's not really funny. So tell me anything else that you want to add about why we love Virgo, or what would be missing from the world if we didn't have Virgo? How would things look
Oh,
different?
yeah. If we didn't have Virgo, I just think that this desire to become our best selves, It just
Mm.
wouldn't be there, at least not in the same way, at least not in those meticulous kind of details. There are other signs that strive for excellence too.
Yeah.
Not the way that Virgo does. Virgo has a way of getting us into the nitty-gritty details, and so I just think that we need we need Virgo so badly, because
Mm.
there has to be somebody in there helping us with those details, um just really getting in there, um and help someone to help us to strive for perfection, even though
Yeah.
we know we're not going to get there. We've got to have somebody help us to strive for that.
Yeah.
um, the other thing I'd say about Virgo that I just really love, that I think also kind of gets missed, we've maybe touched on it a little bit, but Virgo definitely has goddess energy to it
Oh,
as well. Yeah, you and I often talk about the goddess energy of Taurus and Scorpio and how
yes.
those are different, and Virgo has more of the garden goddess, I would say,
Okay.
and so there's this beautiful, just like a frolicking fairy in the forest picking her herbs. That's
Yeah.
I love that energy of Virgo, and I wanted to make sure we didn't lose that, because I think that's a beautiful embodiment of Virgo. Oh, and another thing, Virgo, Virgo is it means virgin.
Oh,
And so people, you talk about a virgin, people
yeah.
have a meaning for what a virgin means. And Virgo the virgin is not what we think it is. It is
Okay.
somebody who belongs to themselves.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. We haven't hit Libra yet. They're fully themselves.
Exactly. Yeah, they
Yeah.
belong to themselves. They know who they are. They know their path. They know what needs to be done. They belong to themselves. There's no there's no cutting in on that. They see it with clarity, and they are good with that. They don't, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that point gets missed a lot. There's a lot that gets missed about Virgo.
I agree because I knew almost, I mean, I knew that people talk about Virgo being the kitchen witch and
Hmm.
you hear that they're perfectionists. And that's about the extent of what I knew about Virgo, which is
Yeah.
sad given how much astrology I do know. I'm like, why don't I know more
Yeah,
about Virgo?
yeah.
Yeah, I love the depth and it escapes me now, but I was thinking about Virgo being the virgin and I was thinking about how complimentary the idea is that somebody has been untouched or
Yes.
that they're still held sacred is this very complimentary idea to we're going to get everything as right as possible. I'm going to be my best self. Like it's all about like being whole,
Yes.
but in different ways.
Yeah. Yeah. Before we go out there and we meet our partner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love also, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I was thinking about, I'm obviously identify with Taurus a lot because that's my son. I was thinking about Taurus being the first earth sign and Taurus being outside because it's a bull, but also the pleasure and the beauty of outside. And Virgo outside, because I always imagine Virgo, well, there's a book, The Garden Spell, I think it is. And it's
Okay.
literally about a kitchen witch who
Mhm. Mhm.
uses herbs and stuff in her garden to make spells. Um, and so in my mind, I imagine somebody that's also outside, feels at home outside, but has this relationship different. There's a
Yeah.
give and a take different than like Taurus is just, listen, I'm just here to enjoy. You
Yes.
know what I mean? Like,
It's
and
all
there's nothing
pleasure.
wrong with that. Whereas
No.
Virgo is like, oh, thank you, Rosemary. Thank you, this. Like, let me see what I can do with you. There's a different, I don't know if it's a hands on quality or if it's the give and take. I'm not sure what I'm trying to lead up to here.
It's purpose is what it
Okay.
is. Yeah.
Thank you. That is what it is.
It is. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because for a Virgo, this is the other archetype that people will often associate with Virgo, is the servant. They are
Mhm.
here to serve this earth. Everything that they do has a purpose. Literally, friend, everything that a Virgo does has a purpose in their mind, whether it's a little crazy or not, I don't know, but it's
Yeah.
got a purpose to them. They're doing it for a reason. They do not rest per se, And so, yeah, they're going out there, they're picking the herbs for a reason. Not as Taurus would pick the herbs to make a beautiful bouquet of, to because it
Yeah.
smells
Just because it
lovely
felt
and
good.
feels nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, 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 no. No, a Virgo is going to do it because they're going to put it in their tea. They're going to understand the soothing. If they smell it, they're going to understand what that does for their body.
Mm-hmm.
There's everything is purpose filled, and they want to bring that back to the earth. They are the servant, and when we say the servant,
Yeah.
we don't mean it like a slave.
Right.
It's not a negative connotation at all. It's in their bones. The foundation of who they are is to serve
Mm.
this earth.
Mm-hmm.
Everything they do is everything. It's real nuanced though,
Yeah.
because everything they do is to serve this earth, which sounds selfless, right? It is not. It is not. It's very much for themselves.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to call them selfish. They're not selfish at all. They
Right.
are of service.
But it's
But
the
it's this,
culmination of self.
yes, yeah. So it's a very kind of nuanced idea of the servant who's doing it to make this world a better place, so that they can stand proud and know
Right.
that they had an impact, and that it's kind of like that. It's yeah, which
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe this is up for debate, but maybe all service is that service when it's good natured, of course. How much service is there really anything that we do that's selfless?
Right.
You
Right.
know,
No, I don't think there's anything that's just give and not receive.
right?
It's like
Yeah,
we're
it makes us
automatically
feel good.
receiving when we give. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful.
yeah.
Yeah, and I forgot about the servant aspect. Or would you say I keep jumping back to Gemini, and so like
Hmm.
I know Gemini and Sag are opposites,
Yeah.
and they're both like education, but Virgo is this like meticulous person, and
Hmm.
so I still like I think I've heard the word apprentice associated with Virgo. Okay.
Absolutely. And I'm going to go back one step really quick,
Yeah.
because I love that you keep thinking of Gemini, because, of course, Virgo and Gemini are both ruled by Mercury. So
Oh,
they
okay.
absolutely have a lot in common for that reason. Now, there's some theories out there that Virgo is ruled by another planet yet to be discovered, or maybe Ceres, the asteroid. There's a lot of different theories out
Sure.
there, but as collectively, we all still think that they're both ruled by Mercury, the messenger god. So it's very much about information. Um,
Okay.
and I'm sorry, what was the question again?
Oh, apprentice and
Apprentice.
yeah. I couldn't
Yes.
tell. I know Gemini's mutable and Virgo's mutable, but to me it felt
Mhm.
there was something about education with Virgo that we haven't.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you were absolutely right. Yeah, definitely. Mentorship is very
Oh,
much a thing, because a Virgo, they know all the skills, and they're here to give them back to the world. So what does that mean? They're here to teach others.
yeah.
They are here, to be a mentor to somebody. Um, and they very much learn by being an apprentice too. I mean, that relationship of, teacher student, apprentice, apprenticee. I don't know, what you say there.
Right, right.
Mentor mentee. That's a sacred relationship. It does sit with Gemini as well, absolutely, but in a very different way. Gemini, it's more just like, let's get you the information. It's more
Yeah.
raw.
Yeah.
Here's the information, flash, bang. It's like that. And with Virgo, it's purpose filled. It's like, well, we've got a purpose here. We're doing something very specific, and I'm going to mentor you about how to do that. And so, uh, coming into Virgo season, it's a fantastic time actually to find a mentor. If
Mm,
there's something that there's a skill, it's a fantastic time to just learn a new skill. This is the energy that's supported during Virgo season, is learning something new, becoming skilled in something, or honing your skills. Maybe you're already really good at a craft, but let's get even better at that craft. Let's strive for perfection, as long as we remember that it's not attainable, but we're going to strive for it. Um, so searching for a mentor, or just learning how to hone that craft yourself, or learning a new craft, that's Virgo territory.
I love the way over this series of podcasts how you have walked us through sequentially because it's so helpful the idea that okay, we healed ourselves, so now we can go to Leo and we can be ourselves out in the world because we've got everything. Our
Yes.
spark of life, our body, our intellect, we've got our emotions on board. Ta-da. And then
Yes.
Virgo comes in and be like, "That's great. Now let's make it better." You
Yes.
know, like that having that sequence is really helpful for me in understanding kind of the Virgoic archetype, I guess is what I'm
Oh,
saying.
yeah, no, and I love that too. I mean, that is one of the things that absolutely just raked me into astrology was, that I love that. I love that growth,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's gonna be so wild to go to like other people. Like we've been
other people.
on the individual for the first half of the zodiac. I'm like, oh,
Yes,
that's gonna be weird.
yes.
Um, so what does we talked about Virgo being called a perfectionist, but anything, what else are the kind of their shadows?
They're shadows. I mean, I think as far as shadows for Virgo, it is pretty simple. It really is just that nobody, no other sign can beat themselves up more than a Virgo does,
Mm,
and it's and so often with that Virgo energy, if they think they can't do it perfect, well, sometimes they just won't even try because again, they see the perfection
yeah, I have a
and they
child.
know they can't get there. So,
Yes.
just I'm just going to go ahead and give up. And that's really a shadow side of Virgo. I mean, a Virgo who's not being in service, a Virgo who's not um, working on honing a skill or mentoring somebody or doing some sort of healing. They're just they're not doing what they're meant to do, and I think they would just spiral into like this self-hating abyss. They always have to be focused on something.
So I'm going to take this conversation more general because I think what you just said
Hmm.
is so beautiful that if they're not healing something, if they're not honing their craft in some way, then they're not doing what they were meant to do.
Hmm.
And I already know this, but I'm just sitting in the idea of like, we're meant to do the whole chart.
We are.
Like, I think there are times when, at least I'll speak for myself and say there are times when I fight against something. Like, I'll think, oh, everybody would like me better if I was more Cancerian, or like, I'm supposed to be Cancerian because I'm a mother. And it's like,
Yeah.
no, that's not what my chart says,
Right.
you know?
Right.
And so I think grappling with, we are here to do the whole chart like that,
Yeah. Yeah. And
um,
it's complicated. Yeah. Go on.
no, you go.
Okay. Yeah. So it's complicated because you're right. You have your chart. Your chart never changes. That's
Right.
your curriculum of what you are. That's the master plan, the big picture idea of what you're here to do on Earth. And you've got transits that move through certain houses. You've got progressions that move through certain signs. You've got all of these things where you will have a Virgo season, where even if you've got no Virgo in your chart, you will have a Virgo season. And so, yeah, for somebody who doesn't have any Virgo energy and all of a sudden they're going through a Virgo season, it's going to feel jarring to be, well, no, this is uncomfortable. This is what I'm supposed to be. My chart says yeah, I'm a Cancer
Right.
and I'm supposed to be nurturing and just, all just emotional and, all of these things. And now all of a sudden I feel like I'm supposed to be, doing Excel workbooks or something. What is that? What is
Yeah.
that? Well, yeah, maybe for that time you're supposed to be doing that. And that somehow, this is the mystery of life, the mystery of astrology, the mystery of why it's all so complicated and nuanced, and a computer can't just spit this stuff out. It has to
Right.
be in human hands. Somehow working on those Excel workbooks or whatever it is gets you to be actually more Cancerian of what your curriculum actually is,
Yeah.
but we all have every single part of that in us. Um, yeah, it's just seasons is, yeah, what it is.
You said something about Excel that made me think
Uh-huh.
about one other thing about Virgo that you've told me in the past. Because our friend Becca Hart, who is at House of Hygeia, I
Yeah,
had I had done she had a course or workshop or something. And the other day I felt inspired to pull up a family member's Hygeia and look it up, and their Hygeia was
yeah.
in Virgo,
Mm-hmm.
and it talked about needing systems,
Yeah,
like self-care as in you have proper systems around you, that things are orderly and really helpful for me to understand that about my family member. So thanks, Becca, on that.
right. Yeah.
But But then I'm reminded because you have Mars in Virgo,
I do.
and we talk a lot about databases and systems and
I
details.
love me an Excel spreadsheet.
Yeah.
It's like my happy place. I don't know. Oh, sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I like that. For me, I'm like I'm sitting in this Virgo energy feeling like it's a little bit I keep wanting to go a little bit mental, a little bit Gemini
Very
because
mental.
it's meticulous, but
Yeah.
because it's an earth sign,
Uh-huh.
it's also and it's associated with healing, like it's a very interesting energy that I'm trying to like
It is.
sit in.
It is. No, you're right. Because I can see why somebody would think it's an air sign. Because Virgo is very smart. These are highly intellectual people. Okay,
Mm.
but they're grounded in their intellect. It's not this like, it's not this in their head intellect. It's a very grounded energy, right? Um, so it's yeah, it's very, very different. And yeah, Hygeia and Virgo absolutely have a, a beautiful relationship. They're very much both about health. Hygeia, for those who don't know, is an asteroid that is named after the goddess Hygeia, who was the goddess of hygiene, not hygiene the way we think of it today, like brushing our teeth and washing our hair. Preventative medicine is really what it is. And that is absolutely, Virgo territory. So you're right. Someone with a Virgo, Hygeia and Virgo is going to have those real strong placements. My Hygeia is actually in the sixth house.
Oh.
So in the sixth house is ruled by Virgo. So there again, like, yeah,
Eh,
those systems, you want to have those. You're absolutely right. Yeah, those really meticulous
yeah.
again. Those kind of things. Yeah.
Do you notice? I mean, you've been alive long enough, so I want you to kind of think back to your whole independent adulthood.
Hmm.
If there was a time in your life, it's hard to imagine that this would be true for you, but if there was a time in your life where you didn't have systems supporting you, would your health suffer? Mental health, physical health?
So it's a very interesting question for me. And I think I have two very complicated things going on when it comes to health in my chart.
Okay.
Um, well, both my Mars and Virgo is conjunct my Saturn and Leo. And when you have
Right.
planets that are conjunct, they work together. They can't work apart. So I talked about how Virgo doesn't like the silly energy of Leo. Okay. Well, and I have Venus in Leo too. So I have more Leo in my chart than I have Virgo.
Mm,
Um, but that Virgo energy is very strong. It's the ruler of my South Node also. It's very, very strong for me, especially because it's conjunct Saturn, which is a real strong energy for it to be conjunct, but it's in Leo. It's a different sign and it's a playful sign.
yeah.
So there's a part of me that loves systems. Yes, I have to have systems. I have to know exactly what to do. I want to be precise. You know about my love of ballet.
Yes.
That is someone in with Mars and Virgo. That's a normal thing for them to love something like ballet or something just
Yeah.
very meticulous. Um, you know, but I have this extremely playful nature to me too, where I just wanna, the best shape ever of my life was when there were there was well, let me take that back. There was a system, but the system was about freedom. It was about freedom.
Okay.
I did yoga every single day of my life, every
Mm,
single day. So there's the system, yoga
yeah.
every single day. I didn't go to teachers. I did it completely on my own. I'd literally just plop down on the floor and do yoga for 40 minutes.
And that's
Like
such an
in,
earth sign thing too, yoga.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And the other thing in my chart is that my Hygeia in the sixth house, ruled by Virgo, is in the sign of Sagittarius. So again, you have this wild kind of free energy. So it's
Got
like
it.
for me,
That's very complex.
it's very complex. I have to have systems and I have to have freedom and fun.
Yeah.
And that's why that yoga every single day, but feeling like it was mine and nobody else's. Just I did it with freedom. I did it with such freedom. And that's why it worked for me. I keep trying to tap back into that. Somehow I
Right.
can't, but
This is why I love astrology. My loved one, we we kept running into things about systems around the home. And
Mhm.
I love systems, but I'm terrible at them because of the ADHD. Like
Yeah,
I'm good at them until they're boring and then I forget about them and then we
yeah,
need
yeah.
another system. And that's not actually a system.
Right.
It could only last for 4 days.
Yeah, yeah.
So, when I looked at their chart and saw the Hygeia in Virgo, I was like, "Oh, this is genuine stress for them."
Mm-hmm.
That that like their home is out of order.
Yes,
And then you add that this person has their Cancer sun, so like their home is really important. It's like,
absolutely. Almost
"Oh,
everything's the
dang, I got to
Cancer.
figure this out."
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
that is the beauty of astrology is we just sometimes
Yeah.
we look at another person, why is this such a big deal to you? I don't
Yeah.
understand. Well, because you don't have their chart. So
Yeah.
it does allow us to have grace for other people and understand like, okay, this is really important for them. Like maybe I need
Yeah.
to figure this out too. Yeah.
Right, right. And then I love also seeing if I didn't know about Virgo, I could see systems as being very cold,
Yes.
but they're actually very supportive,
Absolutely.
you know,
Absolutely.
like so that's the other thing that I am so appreciating about doing this podcast series because I'm learning so much in the depth of understanding
Yeah.
about these things.
Yeah.
You know, like I think before this conversation, I could have told you systems, details, perfectionist, but I would not have understood, even though I knew the kitchen witch and the healing side, I wouldn't
Hmm.
have really understood that that's a supporting, loving. Like I kind of want to say Cancer's the mom, but Virgo's Mother Earth. Like
I'd go with that. Sure.
there's like a warmth
Hmm.
there to that
Hmm.
support. Um, so yeah, it's so cool. This is so
I love
fun.
it. I know.
So what does Virgo long for? We know Virgos, we've talked about like it's the last of the individual signs, so we're not to relationship yet. But if we're in relationship with Virgo, how do we do that well?
Yeah, I feel like that's a complicated question because uh, a Virgo, like I said, they want things to be the way that they see them.
Yeah, yeah,
So I think I think it's the hardest thing for a Virgo is to give themselves grace. And so I think for their partner to give them grace is the biggest gift that you can give to a
mm,
Virgo. I think for their
hmm,
partner to understand the amount of pressure that a Virgo puts on themselves
yeah,
and to when a Virgo goes into the crazy, the cup goes there mode, to just let it go and just
yeah,
understand how important that is to a Virgo and just support them in that and help them to understand that they're not crazy
yeah,
and help them to understand that they don't have to be perfect without, by the way, this is complicated. Help them to understand that they don't have to be perfect, but please do not ever tell them that they don't have to be perfect.
right, yeah,
They won't, they'll probably blow up on you. Maybe that might be coming from my own,
right. Well, and
but
I was no, go ahead.
no, 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 you.
I was thinking, so I'm working on my presentation for Astrobash, and I'm
Yes.
talking about emotional intelligence for the elements. And Virgo is an
Hmm.
earth sign, and the earth signs, our emotions are very body, like we feel them in our body
Yes.
differently than the other signs do. And so I was thinking about how the cup being in the wrong place. It's like, no, in their bones, it's in the wrong place.
Yes.
Like it is just
Yes.
it's not this Gemini, oh, well, maybe it could go here. It's like, no, no, I can feel it. I'm telling you, it goes here. There's
That's
a
where it goes.
certainty there with an earth
End
sign.
of story. Yes.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I love
Yeah. Yeah.
that. Ah, oh, Virgos. I had
Hmm.
no
Hmm.
idea I was going to like Virgo so much, I got to say.
Oh, I love that. I love
Like,
that. They are, yeah.
yeah, and I love the deepening of the characters of the zodiac,
Hmm.
you know. It's like, well, we've been going deeper or bigger and now we're going to go really broad in the
Yeah.
future episodes. So
Yeah.
anyway, I'm really enjoying this.
Right.
um I don't know, I'm looking at a bunch of questions that don't really seem important. Well, I will say, so we talked about how to be in a relationship with Virgo. um how how would a Virgo express love? How would I know I was being given love if I'm with a Virgo?
Yeah. I think that they would, I think you'd feel their service, like you'd, again, I think it's so complicated with Virgo because it's like this. Mm, they want everybody to fit into their mold,
Yeah.
right? You know, um, and that's not great partnership per se. Like people, it's like no, we're striving for perfection here. So I think though, if they were able to maybe let go of that a little bit, like be of service to the other person and the person that they were striving for. Like if they were able to see that, I feel like that's such a complicated thing with Virgo. But
I was thinking the five love languages,
hmm
like they're probably acts of service
yeah, I would say so.
if
Yeah,
we had to put them somewhere.
yeah.
Um, yeah, interesting, interesting.
hmm
I think I don't know. I need to hang out with some Virgo friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I have some kiddos with some heavy sixth house or some heavy Virgo, and I haven't understood it the way I understand it now. I'm like, okay,
hmm
I want to cuddle up to that a little bit more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like the only earth sign that I'm not intimately familiar with.
Right.
Speaking of Virgo, I should say, I was just
hmm
telling a good friend of mine the other day that I wasn't putting it in astrology language, but my husband will have an idea and my Capricorn moon will automatically think that's a terrible idea.
Right.
Like it'll automatically be like that won't work.
Yeah.
And then it always works. Like my husband's a really smart guy and he figures things out, but my Capricorn moon is always. And so I just think it's funny that he's got some Virgo influence in there and he can see no, this is the way and I just don't see
Yeah.
it.
Right.
I'm like
Right.
I just don't see it. But after, being together 11 or 12 years, I've kind of figured out this is what's going to happen. I'm going to think it's stupid and then it's going to work and
Right. Right. I love that.
oh man.
Yeah.
So earlier we talked about intuition. I'm doing this because in my mind I'm seeing Pisces and Virgo on the wheel. Um,
Yeah.
this is why I'm doing this arm movement.
Uh-huh.
So, but we talked about intuition and it being on the same axis as Pisces, but having intuition very differently. So, to
Yeah.
expand on that, what is it? What is it that helps Virgo increase their depth of connection or their intimacy with divine energy, source, God, spirit? Pick your word.
Yeah. Yeah. It just goes back to service, I think, for them.
Oh, okay.
I think when they're honing their skill and feeling like it is of service, like they are giving back, that is to them the deepest form of connection. Um, to just really feel and know their purpose in this world. Yeah, I think for them that's the ultimate.
Yeah. I was gonna guess, I like your answer better. I was gonna guess healing, like if they were healing others.
Yeah, I think that can be true for a
Yeah.
Virgo. I don't think that it always is.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
healing is under the umbrella of service. So that's why I'm like, oh,
yes,
that's a better answer.
yeah, yeah.
Oh man. Well, anything else that you want to say about our Virgos out there before we move to the astrology of the season?
No, I think yeah, I'm just looking at my notes here. No, I think we covered everything. Yeah,
Yay.
yeah.
So, what's happening? You want to start with moon cycles?
Yes, 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 yes. Let's go into the moon cycles. Okay, so what day is this podcast airing? I should have checked beforehand,
Saturday, like the
which
day
is
after Virgo season starts.
the day after Virgo season starts. Okay, so yeah, I kind of wanted to know. Virgo season starts on August 22nd. One thing I want to say about Virgo, really
Yeah.
quick, before we get into this, I just remembered, and maybe it fits into this conversation. Uh, what I love about, and this is a Western Hemisphere thing, but you ever notice that at the very beginning of Virgo season, everybody is ready for fall? We're still in
Oh,
summer. We
yeah.
still have one season of summer left.
Oh,
By
God.
season, I mean zodiac sign.
Yeah.
But everybody's like, summer? I don't know even who you are. I'm ready for fall. I'm ready for my pumpkin spice lattes and my
Right.
Halloween decorations and my corn mazes and I don't all the fall things that we all tend to love, you know.
Yeah. Like I'm literally tired of going to the pool.
Yeah, yeah, everybody, you know, and I think that that happens with every mutable sign. Once you get to the mutable
Mm,
sign, because Virgo is a mutable sign, it's the last sign of the season, and mutable's like half in, half out. They're like, you
right.
know, like, okay, yeah, we're still in summer, but let's move on to fall,
Yeah.
you know? And I love that about Virgo because I think that it's our gateway into fall, and people just get so excited about fall.
Yeah.
So, you know, Libra season is, of course, the official start of fall, but people start celebrating fall way ahead of time.
Oh, yeah. Back to
So
school, and you got to have the right binder and the right marker bags and line them all up in rainbow order. I mean,
I mean, school, that is Virgo land. Like that is Virgo land. So yes, it all times up perfectly. So I love that. I love that. Like for me, I very much try like I love candles, but I try not to buy a fall candle or at least have a fall candle in my house until we're actually in the season of fall. But I'm like,
right.
maybe in Virgo season that's okay. Maybe I can like tip my little baby toe in there and get me a fall candle. I don't know.
Oh, that's so
Not yet
funny.
though. Not yet.
Not
No,
yet.
no. Okay. So on August 26th, we've got our first major moon cycle. That is a last quarter moon in Gemini. And of course, we're going to be going through, because we're in a mutable sign, all of the moon phases are going to be mutable signs. So
Got it.
we
Okay.
start off with that last quarter moon in Gemini. That's on 8/26. Then the new moon in Virgo is on September 2nd. And of course, the new moon, when we've got a new moon, it's always the same sign as where the sun is. It means that they're conjunct. The sun and the moon are conjunct. They're working together as one. So the sun, which is like our ego, and the moon, which is like our emotions, actually work collectively together. It's a beautiful time, set manifestations and things like that, because we're more aligned. We're really aligned with that Virgo energy on that
Mm.
day, which is just lovely, right?
Okay. So September 2nd, get clear on the vision.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Especially something, a skill, like
Yeah.
manifest something, some way that you want to grow, or something about your health, or, you know, those are great things for that day. Um, let's see here. First quarter moon after that on September 10th. That's a first quarter moon in Sagittarius. And then we've got something a little spicy coming up here on September 17th. We've actually got a full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces. Okay, so Pisces is the last of the mutable signs here. And if you know anything about eclipses and eclipse seasons and the nodes, you might be going, whoa, 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 we're still in the Aries Libra nodal axis.
Yeah.
Why do we have a Pisces lunar eclipse? And the reason for that is because Pisces and Virgo are coming up next on the nodal in our nodal story. They're the next one we're going to go to.
Oh,
And whenever we're in the beginning of the nodes or the end of the nodes, we start to veer into eclipses being in those signs. And so this is our first time in a while we're going to have an eclipse that's not an Aries or a Libra eclipse. So we're just
I am ready for the nodes. I'm ready. I'm done with the nodal return, people.
yes, for people listening, Amy and I, our nodal axis, we have opposite nodes, and it is the Aries Libra nodal axis is what we
Yeah.
have. So I'm the very I'm the very end, which sounds like the very beginning because I'm 1 degree and it always moves reverse. And
That's
you're the opposite. You're like 29, right?
yes.
Yeah,
I'm just
something like
barely
that.
learning this whole Libra Aries
Yeah,
thing. I'm
yeah.
at the early stages of figuring it out.
So yours has happened. Your nodal return has happened. My
Yeah.
nodal opposition is going to happen pretty soon here, but I think at the
Godspeed.
end of the year. Oh man, but I had because my Mars is in Virgo. When I had some stuff hit my Mars that just really just wiped me out, because it hits that Mars for me, it's hitting my nodal stuff. So I did have some really heavy nodal stuff happen pretty recently, and it was not pretty. Oh man. So yeah, we're dipping our first toe into the Pisces nodal story, which will be lovely. Which will be lovely. A Pisces moon is also just a beautiful moon. That's like one of those yummy kind of moons, you know.
Now, are you
Oh,
meaning literally when you look at it in the sky, it's beautiful?
no, I mean it
Oh,
always is to me.
well, yeah, yeah.
but
Okay, I
no,
just
but
wanted
no,
to.
I mean I mean, the energy is
Okay.
is beautiful. Yeah. So yeah, it's just the energy of Pisces just is so lovely. It's just such a, it's a compassionate, beautiful, connected sign, and so the moon being there, it's a beautiful, and it's a beautiful moon to really connect to source, especially being a lunar eclipse. You know, it's it'll be a good moon to do. If you're into moon ceremonies or anything, it'll be a fantastic to do that too. So
Mhm.
yeah, that's those are our moons.
Beautiful.
Let's see. So let's get into everything else. Okay, we got some good news coming up and early in Virgo season. August 28th, guys, Mercury goes back direct. Yay!
I have to say,
So,
this Mercury, I'm actually doing it. Like, we've talked before about the retrograde being like, go back and reflect. And
yeah,
I never really understood that before, you know? And this retrograde, I've been like, oh, there are some shadows, and I'm really curious about them because now is the time,
yeah,
you know?
yeah,
Um, so yeah, I mean, we don't need to do a deep dive into it, but over, especially when we were maybe in Gemini season, because we were talking about Mercury, but at some point in one of these episodes, we took some time with Mercury retrograde, and you were like, go back and reflect on, what have you. Um, and I sort of found myself doing that naturally, and I kind of realized I
yeah,
was in retrograde, and then, or not, I was, we all were. And
yeah.
then I was just like, all right, if we're doing it, let's do it, and let's be willing to really look under the rock and see what's there. Um, so thank you for explaining that about Mercury retrograde. It's
I,
been very helpful and somewhat ugly.
yeah, no, and I love that. And you know what's so funny is that I was asking myself that same question. I was feeling that way myself personally. And I was also noticing I've been really in on the Threads community lately. I don't know how many people are on Threads. It's the Zuckerberg replacement for Twitter, and I just love it there. And I can't tell you how many people I've seen saying those things.
Mm,
And I thought, is this I didn't I okay, I've got a couple theories as to why I think that might be happening.
okay.
One, Mercury Mercury rules Virgo. So, and Mercury being in Virgo retrograde, it's a purer kind of energy, right? So it's
Yeah.
just a little clearer in our vision. You said look under the rock. Yeah, Virgo's going to look under the rock. They're not afraid to look in the mirror and go, what the heck is wrong here? That's what a
Right.
Virgo does. That's what they do best is go, what the heck is wrong here, right? So that's one theory. Another theory is that just that astrology has really, kicked it up a notch. People are getting astrology more, and
Mm,
people are getting a deeper understanding of it more. It's not just pop astrology anymore, where people look at, oh, I'm a Gemini. Let me look at my Gemini horoscope, which I'm just not a fan of. I think it's so generic. It's not really that helpful at all.
right.
And so people are understanding, they've heard it enough times now, maybe that the retrogrades are really that time to reflect, that maybe people are actually starting to get it. So I don't know if it's an education thing, which again, going back to Virgo education, which makes sense. I don't know if it's an education thing or if it's truly just flat out an energetic thing,
Yeah.
that why people are all of a sudden really getting what the retrogrades are. You don't hear all this doom and gloom so much anymore, which is lovely. Um,
Well, for me, when I was really noticing it, it was when it was conjunct Mars. And the
mm-hmm.
reason why I noticed it was because the thing that I was reflecting upon was when I do and don't allow anger,
Yeah,
how anger manifests, and just when I don't take action.
yeah,
Why do I not take action? Why do I not make decisions? So it was really looking at the shadow of Mars in my own behavior.
right. That's
That's when I noticed that I'm like, oh, I'm really doing a lot of reflection lately. And on that day that I noticed it, they were conjunct.
yeah.
It's
There
so
you go.
literal.
It's so literal. Yeah,
Yeah.
it really is. So I love that. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
So okay, so yeah, Mercury goes direct on August 28th. On August 29th, the very next day, Venus enters Libra. How lovely.
Yes.
How lovely. That's just fantastic, isn't it? So that's going to be just a great time to work on your partnerships and, dive into balance and calm and, things like that. Um, All right, guys, we've got a big one here. I mean, it's kind of a big one. I don't know. I don't know if it's a big one. We'll see. Um, September 1st, Pluto goes back into
No, that's a big one.
Whew, yeah. So if you've not followed the Pluto journey, okay, guys, Pluto takes 284, forgive me if I'm off a little bit there, 248 maybe, something like that,
Yeah.
years to go around the sun. So when Pluto hit 29 degrees of Capricorn, we in the US, we're having our first Pluto return. Um, so a lot of the chaos that we've had going on in the U.S., people have said, well, look at that was the time of the American Revolution, the last time that happened. It's known throughout history. If you look back at history, 29 degrees of Capricorn is a time of upheaval. So right now we're right now, as we're recording this, I should say, we're at 0 degrees of Aquarius, but it's probably, it's retrograde, and so it's going to go back into that 29 degrees of Capricorn, 29 being the last degree. And we're going to be back, moving back into the US's Pluto return during the election, might I add,
Ooh,
during the election. So, I'm little Miss Optimist over here. So, to me, this upheaval is an upheaval of the bad things,
sure.
the bad
Look
structures
under
that
the
we don't
rock.
want. Yeah. Look, this is marks because the American Revolution was a good thing. It was upheaval, but it led to the United States of America, and it led to this idea, this beautiful idea that we're still honing, as Virgo would say. We're still trying.
Yeah.
We're still working on our craft here in the U.S. But maybe this Pluto return, this is the last stint in Capricorn.
Mm.
Shortly after the election, I probably have it written here actually. Yes, I have it. November 19th, you guys. It moves back into Aquarius for the final time. And by final, I mean for the next, I don't know, 30 years or something like that.
Right.
So, this is our last time in Capricorn. And yeah, we'll see.
And
We'll
just
see
in
what
case
happens.
anybody is really new here, remind people what Pluto represents.
Yeah, Pluto represents death and destruction and upheaval and just going in there with the excavator and bringing up all the ugly bits that you don't necessarily want to see, you
Mm.
know? But imagine life if we never pulled out those ugly bits, if we never exposed them. Pluto is here to expose the ugly bits for us,
Mm.
and Capricorn is about structures, about systems, things like that. And so the upheaval of the systems and structures.
Yeah,
I think we've been
fascinating that
doing that
that's happening during the election.
during the election.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
And
again,
not a coincidence at all.
no, yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
no, it's not. It's not. So yeah, I think we are going to be entering with Pluto and Aquarius, kind of just a new age. And at Astro Bash, the incredible Stephen Forrest is going to be he's going to be giving us an incredible 4-hour lecture on Pluto and Aquarius and what it means for us as a collective, us individually. I'm so excited to hear Stephen talk about that. Um,
hours.
4 hours.
If
Yes.
anybody could captivate me for 4 hours, it might be Stephen Forrest,
It would be Stephen Forrest.
but
Yes, there will be a break in between.
that's a long time to sit in an uncomfortable chair.
Yeah. So yeah, we put out all the interviews for Astrobash. If people
Yeah.
want to go to their YouTube site, you can watch Stephen's full interview, but he was talking a little bit about how one of the things he wants to do is to help astrologers understand that these last, several decades, we've been reading for people with Pluto in Capricorn. That's been
Mm.
the underlying energy of everything. And we've been looking at everything through that lens of Pluto and Capricorn. And as astrologers, as any kind of somebody working with people, now we're going to shift our lens to Pluto and Aquarius, which is just an entirely different energy.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that'll be exciting. That'll be exciting.
Fascinating. All right, I will check it out. And my interview's
Yeah.
there too.
Yes, it sure is. It sure is. I loved it. I watched it the other day. I loved it. Yep. I posted it. I posted a little clip of it on Instagram on if you want to look up Astro Bash Return. You want to
Ooh,
find
yay.
that Instagram page. You can see a little clip of Amy's interview and then go to the YouTube page. You can see the whole thing.
Aw, thanks, friend.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so let's keep moving. Let's keep moving. Let's get juicy. All right. So what do we got next? All right. On September 4th, Mars enters Cancer. All right. So Mars, the planet of action, the planet of just this kind of male kind of energy, Cancer in such a delicate and sweet and safe and lovely sign. So
Right.
actions are going to be a little softer, I think maybe,
Okay.
which is lovely. Um, and then Mercury then goes back into Virgo.
All
Okay,
right.
because when it went retrograde, it was in Virgo for the first part, and then it went into
Went to
Leo.
Leo. Yeah.
Now it's going to go back into Virgo on September 8th. That's happening, and that's it. Yeah, that's it. I'm like, wow, is that the last one, September 8th? Oh, so we've got a couple of moon things after that, but not a lot of activity otherwise. There's other things that I don't talk about every single detail. To me,
Right.
these are the juicy ones.
The
So
pertinent ones.
yeah, yeah.
So when Mercury goes into Virgo, what are we reflecting upon?
We are looking at we're reflecting on ourselves. We're looking in the mirror.
Yeah.
What can we improve? What skills can we hone? Who can we mentor? How can we place that cup perfectly in the cupboard? No, I'm just kidding.
Right. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's a great time to learn a new skill, you know.
And then we talked about the new moon when the sun and the moon are conjunct in Virgo and
hmm
manifesting. What's the releasing or what's the action that we would take when it's the full moon and the sun is in Pisces?
Yeah. So yeah, you kind of if you go through the whole cycle, a new moon, you kind of create this manifestation, a new moon intention, something like that. It's interesting. You go to the first quarter moon. The first quarter moon is an ideal time to like look back at that new moon intention and be like, is that still what I want? Because now you've got friction. You had clarity during the new moon because the sun and the moon were the same. But during
Mhm.
the quarter moons, they're at a 90-degree angle. They're at a point of friction. Our ego and our emotions don't think the same anymore. They don't get along. And that not getting along helps us see things from different perspectives. So it's actually really ideal to go back to your new moon intention and be like, wait a minute, I got to tweak something there. That wasn't quite right. I need to add something or change something. Then we go into the full moon. The full moon is now a time for releasing. Now it's up for debate when you should actually release with the full moon. I think that really it's like the moon reaches its peak. It reaches this massive amount of energy. Okay, which now we're dealing with opposites. The sun and the moon are opposite. There's a certain amount of friction when you've got opposites, but there's also this beauty. They come together. It's a time to meet in the middle. Um, and so and again, it's that Virgo Pisces. It's that control versus letting go. So it's a good time to kind of think about that balance between control and letting go, and what do I need to let go of in order to find that balance. And if you look at what house the moon is happening in, it kind of helps you do that even more. um, my Moon Journal membership, I send out text messages where I tell you the house and give you an interpretation. If you'd like to check that out, you can go to my website, She Dances Under the Moon. So it's, to me, I see it as you work with that big energy of the moon, and the moon starts waning after that. It starts going away. That's the releasing to me, although we kind of talk about it during the full moon, the work, actually, the energy of it actually happens as the moon begins to wane, and brings
Mm.
us into that last quarter moon where again, now we're dealing with friction. We're dealing with the other 90-degree angle. Do we need to shift perspectives? How has that releasing gone? Is it fully released, or is this friction that's present for us now allowing us to see that, okay, we haven't done a very good job of releasing this. And we've got to, again, shift our perspective to fully, get rid of this thing. And then the moon works in cycles where, there's plenty of people who will tell you, oh, you can just let go of something, burn it in a fire, and it's gone. Poof. I'm maybe it's the Virgo in me. I'm too practical for that. Like I'm like, okay, that sounds really lovely, and maybe that works for some people. I don't know. I think it's a longer term thing. I think that we can absolutely work on it, and it's not to say that people can't do that. I don't want to. Somebody can do that. That's fantastic. But I think for most people, it's a longer term thing. We really work on it during that moon cycle. 6 months from now, 6 months from that new moon, now when we're dealing with the full moon in Virgo, we come
Mm.
back and we visit our new moon in Virgo intentions. And now we can actually really see, ooh, how much have I grown? 6 months is a long time to grow.
Yeah.
6 months is a long time to work on an intention. Did I do it? And that's where I think the moon journal comes in so handy.
Right.
Did I do it? Now what can I release to go back to that? So you can kind of release from that current moon or from 6 months ago. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's,
I
it's
love
all
the idea
cycles.
of going, if I actually wrote down what I was manifesting,
That's the trick.
that you got to keep a record.
You
Um,
do
but I love the idea of looking 6 months back because so much life happens in 6 months
so much.
and we forget about whatever that intention was.
Yes,
Or
it's
I
true.
do anyway. Uh, but then to be able to go back, I mean, I haven't done a good job of the journaling, but I hear lots of people that who do keep up with their moon rituals and their moon releasing and their visions, that they'll go, "Oh, the last time the moon was in this place, like this is what I was working on." And they'll
Yes.
have there's always some sort of connection, and
Yeah.
sometimes it's really obvious and sometimes it shows up in a way that was unexpected, but I like there's never been a person that I've talked to that actually follows their moon work that hasn't seen the dots connect,
Yeah.
you
And
know?
yeah, that's exactly why I started the moon journal because I started seeing it and the Virgo in me wanted to be able to track it.
Yeah.
I wanted to track it. And so, yeah, I realized again, I love Excel. I love databases. I know how to do this stuff. So I created a moon journal. And the moon journal itself is free, you guys. If you want to go on there, She Danced Under the Moon, that part is free. The texting part where I send out where you get your houses, all of that's a paid membership. But, um, but yeah, if you want to go do that and start tracking it, it's amazing. I'm astounded at how often I don't always write down my new moon intentions either. I'll come totally clean.
Uh,
Sometimes I'm just not in the mood for it, and that's okay. If you're not in the mood for it, that's fine. But the amount of times when on a full moon I go back and I find that new moon intention if I wrote it 6 months earlier, and I'm just 6 months ago, like, and it does relate. Whatever it relates, and wow, how much I've grown and how proud I can feel of myself. That I did that, or maybe I didn't do it all the way, and here I am to work on it a little bit more, because I
yeah.
still want that, and maybe I forgot about it, but I really want that thing. That thing I think is going to help me so much, and now's the time to remember. So yeah, I'm kind of obsessed with it. I think it's just a beautiful way to live by the moon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's even for people that maybe aren't into astrology but are into goal setting.
Yes,
Just
very
just
much so.
trust us that the moon matters. You don't have to know what or wherever, but get the journal prompt and set your goal, and then, you know, when you're
Yeah,
prompted to go and look back and reflect, then go and look back and reflect and see how the goal's going.
yeah, I completely agree. I don't think you have to believe in astrology at all. I think that you can just think of it as a journal with prompts.
Yeah.
And, you know, um, they're all human questions. They're all human questions that we all have, and we all, deal in these same things. And the zodiac, all it does is brings us through these human questions. And if we follow those questions through each zodiac sign, we answer all of them. The zodiac is such a brilliant model of human psychology.
Yeah.
The fact that the ancient Babylonians came up with this and had such a profound understanding of human psychology. Even back then, they knew all the pieces. It's beautiful. I just fall in love with it over and over again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, well, everybody, I hope you all enjoyed our little Virgo discussion. I certainly enjoyed the heck out of it.
me too.
You can go to shedancesunderthemoon.com to find about the moon journal, to get a reading with Suzanne. We also offer joint readings. Those are also on her website. So be well, loves, and we will see you soon. We're going to move
And
from
come,
Virgo's
oh, cool.
perfection to Libra's peace next time. Go
Yes,
ahead.
yes, and come see us at Astrobash.
Yes.
Amy will have a link for that, I'm sure. And
Yes, and we're like 6 weeks out. You could still do it.
I know you can still come,
You can
sure.
still come. It's gonna be so good.
Yes,
I mean, even if you're just trust us, if you're not an astrologer, that being in a room with Stephen Forrest is not something everybody gets to do, you
no,
know.
it's not.
So that's something. And then it's it's so different than your average conference. It's really community oriented
Mm-hmm.
just by nature in a way that I wouldn't have even thought to ask for, you
Oh,
know?
it's true. Yeah,
And I said this in my interview, but I want to repeat it, that it's a great place to go if you're a newbie. I
totally.
think there's a lot of people that are brand new to astrology that would rightfully so be intimidated by the conference. But I like some of the things that I learned the most was just we were sitting around having lunch and everybody's looking at each other's charts and just chatting. Like I learned a lot just from the casual hangouts.
Yeah, totally agree.
So great place to go. Plus, hang out with me and Suzanne at Virgo Springs. All right, loves. Well, happy Virgo season. Work on your clarity of vision and your health and being in alignment with whatever service to others looks like for you. And we'll see you next time. Bye. Thank you for listening to the Living Out Love podcast. If this episode was helpful for you, there are 3 ways that you can share the love. You can send this episode to family, friend, neighbor, leave me a rating and review on your favorite podcast platform, or comment and ask questions on YouTube. This season is meant to be interactive. Thanks again for your presence. I appreciate you being here. Talk to you next week, loves.